You are watching WPTV, award-winning college television.
Welcome back to the desk. Both William Patterson baseball and softball teams have crossed the midway point of the season, and the NJAC is nuclear. Here to tell us about it is Matt Goldman, Matt Jinks, Daniel Clarke, and Brian Montiel. The baseball team went 15-4 in their non-conference slate, but now went 1-6 in NJAC competition. Goldie, starting with you, why have the Pioneers struggled so far in NJAC play?
It's got to be slow starts at the moment for this Pioneers team. You see, you're down 8-2 against Montclair, 5-1 against TCNJ, 3-0 against Stockton, 4-1 against Ramapo. It's not a winning recipe at all. It appears the starters on the mound are getting their arms tired. Outside of Rob Nathan, it's just not a winning formula. They got to get guys like Devin DeProza, Dylan Santos, Jordan Brown in the midst of things, get them swinging the ball well, because if you're going to go off to a slow start, you're not going to come back more times than not.
Brian, why have they struggled so far?
Kind of got the opposite answer. I say they can't hit late. They start off pretty fast, I feel like, in my opinion. The first 5 innings in all the NJAC, 15 runs scored in the first 5 innings, and in the last 3, only 3 runs. When it's time for the clutch time, they're just not hitting. And we've seen them do it before. They can clutch time hit, but it just hasn't been happening. And if they want to win games, they have to hit the balls in the clutch in those last 3 innings.
Jinxie, tell us why they're struggling.
I think it comes down to the pitching mishaps. They're down early every game except for their win against Stockton 2-1. They have a team ERA of 7 in NJAC games, and when you're always forcing the offense to come back, it's hard to win games.
Daniel?
I think it's actually the late offensive production. They haven't been good. 26 runs in 7 games against NJAC opponents, which is good for a little under 4 per game. And they're striking out a lot again. 15 of the 26 runs have come in the 5th inning or later, so in the second half of the game. And they're just leaving a lot of runners on base, 62 runners on base. It's good for about 9 per game. It's just an inconsistent balance of offense for this Pioneers team once NJAC play has started.
This year, the Pioneers' pitching rotation has been impressive. Goldie, bring us through their numbers on the mound.
Yeah, as I mentioned, it's been light years better than last year. 220 innings pitched so far with a team ERA of 5.32. Just under 200 strikeouts, 192, and just under a 160 whip with a 1.59.
Yeah, I mean, their pitching rotation has been impressive, but I'll go to you, Daniel. Who's been the most impressive pitcher at the bullpen?
I think it's going to be Kevin Reiner. So it's sophomore coming into his second year with the Pioneers. 12 appearances, a 6.75 ERA, 6.32 ERA, my apologies. But before the Ramapo game yesterday, he had 4.11 ERA, 3 multi-inning appearances. He's going to give you 20 to 45 pitches. He's been lights out when he's been in there for the multi-inning appearances, so he's a good long reliever that Coach Lauderhan could get to whenever he needs.
Goldie, who you want to highlight today?
I'm going to say Nick Durso. You're in 2.57 ERA, 135 whip. This is a guy who breathes, eats, and sleeps baseball. 14 innings he's pitched this year. He's only allowed 4 earned runs. He striked out 14, and his time in Wayne, he's only progressed.
Why?
I got Chase Geisler, 4.17 ERA, second best on the team, 151 whip, 4-1 on the season, 37 strikeouts. He had a game with 9 strikeouts went off, and only 2 out of his 7 games he has less than 5 strikeouts. So he has 5 strikeouts and more in all the rest of the games. So he's having an amazing season.
Jinx, close out here.
I'm going to go with the veteran Neil Teldevara. He's a 3.65 ERA, which is the second highest out of relievers on the team, and he has a 2-0 record. In 2 1/3 innings pitched, he has 10 strikeouts with only 1 walk. The team has been able to rely on him heavily throughout the whole season.
On the softball side of things, the Pioneers are currently in 6th place in the NJAC softball standings with a record of 11-11. Jinx, who poses a biggest threat for the Pioneers?
I think it's Kane. They're right above the Pioneers in the standings, and last season when they faced Kane, they got crushed. They lost 14-2 in a mercy rule and 6-2. However, in this doubleheader next week, they have the opportunity to jump Kane in the standings and get closer to that playoff spot.
Daniel, what team poses the biggest threat for the Pioneers?
I'm going to go with the team down in Ewing, the TCNJ Lions. They're 6-2 in the NJAC. The Pioneers are 2 games behind them. The Pioneers have been better hitting team-wise, but not by much, so they're better in average, on base, OPS. But the TCNJ Lions are just miles better than the Pioneers in terms of pitching. A 233 opponent average to the Pioneers, a 346 opponent average. And at the end of the day, I think it's going to come down to the pitching. And the Pioneers really need to hit TCNJ pitching because their hitting is better, but the Lions pitching is just miles better than the Pioneers.
Goldie, what team?
I'm going to say the Stockton Ospreys. There's 6 teams that can make the NJAC playoffs. William Patterson is 6. Stockton is 7 currently. They're a game above. And both teams have lost to Rowan. They've destroyed Rutgers Newark, so it's very similar in aspects of NJAC competition. If they can stop players like McKenna George, Caitlin Citrello, they both bat above 400, so stop them down, it's going to be a significantly easier matchup.
Yeah, we'll get into Stockton in just a second here. Brian, who do you got?
I gotta say Montclair State. They're second in the NJAC. They're our second to last game during the season, and that's gonna be a rivalry game. You know those games are always really hard. They're always chippy, and they're the second in the NJAC, and they're towards the end. And I think that's gonna be a really important game to get a sweep for us, so we can stay in that playoff contention.
Tomorrow, the Pioneers face off against the Stockton Ospreys at Pioneer Softball Field. Jinx, take us through how these two teams compare.
Big doubleheader coming up from the Pioneers. They compare to the Ospreys with a 289 batting average to the Stockton's 320. They allow 4.32 runs per game compared to Stockton's 7.32. Their ERA is about 5.5 compared to Stockton's 2. And their whip is 1.87 compared to Stockton's 1.81.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing these two go head-to-head on Sunday. Brian, what the Pioneers, the Stockton Ospreys have been on an absolute rampage this year. How can the Pioneers get a victory here?
I just think the pitching got to be on point. I mean, Stockton are third in batting average. They're right below us in the NJAC in 7th place, so it's going to be a very important game, but the pitching got to be on point. It's a doubleheader. Usually we see a lot of Guffey play pretty much the full first game, and we just need, Cervello, Acco, and Palmieri to step up that second game or in that first game if Guffey needs help, but the pitching has to be on it for us to win these 2 games.
Jinxie, how can they get a victory?
I think they need to have better at-bats. The Ospreys have a very strong offense, and especially their core. You're going to have to put the ball in play and limit strikeouts and have better at-bats to be able to compete with Stockton and make sure the lead doesn't get out of hand.
Clarke, what do you got?
I think they're going to have to force errors in the field. Stockton, they're about an average team defensively in terms of fielding, but in the infield is where most of their errors come from. So they can strike out. They need to put the bat on the ball. And, it's just like a great game of Plinko. Hit the ball, maybe you'll get lucky and force some errors. Just like a great game of Plinko, Tyler Cooper. Price is right.
Yeah, Price is right. Goldie, finish us off here.
That was interesting. I'm going to go adjust the batting order. Kathy Hill, one thing Kathy Hill does well is adjust the batting order. Brandy Shoreway was not even in the starting rotation to start the year, and she leads the team in batting average right now. The key thing is maximizing player strengths. Adjust the order. Have Swark get some valuable at-bats. Get Backo, get Zoe Hage and Allie Stein. These are players who put the ball in play. And this is a much improved team. They had 5 wins a season ago. So this batting order, adjusting it is only going to get a better recipe.
It's going to be a fun time watching both these teams fight for a spot in the NJAC race. We're going to head on over to the ice with Baylee and their squad as the NHL just saw a notable record get broken. Stick with us here on WP Sports Desk.